I was a venture capital investor in the Bay Area, and I worked there for about a year and a half. Prior to that, I was finishing up my PhD in mathematics from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I've been searching for myself, kind of rediscovering my own strengths and weaknesses. And, I think you were able to help me with that for sure. I think I benefited a lot from our one-on-one as well, where I was encouraged to be expressive of my own needs. For me, working with Yogi has been life-changing, to say the least. I became a lot, I would say, stronger mentally and a lot less people-pleasing to others.
Unlock your full potential. Develop a life of success and harmony with Yogi Sharma.
Hey, Richard.
Hello, Yogi.
Thank you for your time
No problem.
and agreed to talk about our coaching work. Could you please introduce yourself first and tell about who you are, where you're located, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Richard. I live in Boston, Massachusetts, and right now I'm a full-time real estate investor and entrepreneur.
And I think you have such an interesting background that I would like to also ask, what have you done in the past? What you used to do?
Prior to starting my own business in January 2023, I was a venture capital investor in the Bay Area, and I worked there for about a year and a half. Prior to that, I was finishing up my PhD in mathematics from Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Awesome. So before we get started, can you start with telling us where were you before starting to work with us, our coaching? What kind of challenges were you facing?
I met Yogi when I was fresh out of quitting my W-2 corporate job. I previously mentioned that I worked at my job for a little over a year and a half, and I got really burned out, and so I quit. And that was when I also started my own business full time. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and let's just say I didn't know what I signed myself up for when I decided to go full time into my business. The reality hit hard on me that, hey, you don't really get a paycheck every 2 weeks or so like you had for a W-2 job. My spouse had and still has a job. Technically, I was, so, in reality, I was fine. However, emotionally, I was very scared. Running a business, making decisions. I think back then I had a lot of people-pleasing tendencies. I think as a result of some childhood trauma and the way that I was raised. And I was not able to express my needs and not knowing how to do. And, most importantly, running a one-man business, I had no idea how to do sales at all. And I think in combination of all of that, that was my state before meeting Yogi. And I learned the term amygdala hijack, from Yogi. So my amygdala was hijacked all the time.
Scared. Yeah.
Yeah, it alarmed all the time.
You were the classic Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was coming to Yogi saying, hey, can you help me out? I don't really know how to move forward with my business or my life, really.
And that was like a couple of years ago?
That was like April 2023, so almost 2 years ago.
Now, switching gears a little bit, can you talk a little bit about some of the tangible and intangible results we got in our work together? The biggest thing that have happened for you?
First of all, I think just becoming aware of the amygdala hijack, that was a big realization. So I did a little bit of learning on my own and with Yogi, what's prefrontal cortex versus the amygdala and their roles, and how to use mindfulness as a tool to stop the amygdala from being hijacked, maybe half a second before it was about to be. Yeah, so that was big on its own. And over time, I became aware of my own triggers, and I was able to remain calm when those trigger points were pushed, and being able to be aware of my own breath right before amygdala hijacking happened. So I think that was one, I guess you could call that intangible results.
And it's amazing. I think you saw that, thanks to your great work ethic, you got that in a few months. You were able to start to notice that. For me, it took years before I was able to notice my amygdala or limbic system arresting, limbic hijack.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been able to become aware of it had it not been for the ongoing practice that happened during our coaching. And I think I benefited a lot from our one-on-one as well, where I was encouraged to be expressive of my own needs. Well, there's nonviolent communication, which we can talk more about, but however, I'm more talking about just, being transparent and not just cutting the chase with people and expressing my own needs in a way that's true to myself.
And you mentioned at some point being genuinely nice, not just nice for showing sake.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's one of the goals that I set for myself when I enter the program, or rather, Yogi, you help me set for myself is being able to be genuinely nice and be giving to others without an ulterior motive. So I guess that was another intangible results. I learned sales from you. Speaking of some tangible, I learned sales from you, Yogi. I think you and I have a very similar background coming from the technical world and coming from the PhD life.
We could talk about our shared pain around math and real analysis and differential equations.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for Yogi, it's fair to say that, I mean, building a coaching business is building a business, and you have to do sales and marketing all the time. And I think it was such a good experience to have you help me break down the sales process. And as a result, last year, I was able to raise, I think, 200 or $300,000 from investors to finance my real estate deals, and to be able to build multiple win-wins with the investors, with the end clients, and of course myself and my family. I've come a long way thanks to your personal and business coaching.
I mean, it speaks for your generosity to talk about our work, but a lot of work you did. You have done a lot of work yourself. You really learn from other people. You are like a sponge who learns a lot. So that and work ethic, of course, plays a big part. So thank you for being you, and thank you for putting in the work. So now that we talked about becoming aware of triggers, mindfulness, we talked about being genuinely nice and being able to learn sales and also raise over $200,000 from investors. How do you feel things are? How do things feel different now? And intangibly and tangibly, what are you looking forward to in the next year?
That's such a good question. I'm definitely doubling down on fundraising from investors. I think for probably a year, for the past few years, I've been searching for myself, kind of rediscovering my own strengths and weaknesses. And, I think you were able to help me with that for sure. So kind of found my natural spot at raising money and being that fundraiser kind of person in a real estate, or I mean in a transaction overall. There's the ones that are finding the deals and sourcing the deals. I realize I'm better at raising money, so I'm going all in on that. So
I
I
think there
think
was a
that's
switch that shifted for you, where you went from like, oh, it's very hard for me to now it's kind of natural for you to be able to have those calls, right?
I mean, I think if you think about a real estate transaction, I mean, whether you're aware, whether you're familiar with it or not, there is, or rather just any asset, there's acquiring the asset, managing the asset portion that admittedly, that's not my background. On the other hand, I think speaking with, I do come from the background of corporate and W-2 workers who have, who have, years of savings that are losing money against inflation sitting in their bank account. So I relate to that pain point. And I relate to the pain point of wanting a side income and wanting to retire from the corporate, from W-2 job. I find myself being able to relate to the needs of investors a lot better than, property owners, for example. So I think that was what really clicked for me. And I think Yogi, you even spoke on the need to niche down. So I think I took that to the heart as well.
Awesome. And I think niching down is sometimes very counterintuitive. The narrow you become, it becomes easier to grow your business, although it looks counterintuitive. And you also mentioned, I think you want to raise money, and also what is taking business to the next level looks like for you.
Yeah. So I think in terms of income, I do have certain income goals that I want to hit. I think I shared with you before that I think step one is if I can make, more or less $10,000 in passive income a month, I'd feel, a lot, I would say, secure, if that's the right word. And, the eventual goal is, I think, $50,000 a month personally, right? Running a one-person business without employees. That'll be just doubling down on doing more deals and being able to source more capitals to fund the deals, and helping my co-investors make money too.
And you're very much on the way to doing that. And what were you thinking when you were starting coaching? What were your biggest doubts and concerns for whether coaching will work for you or not, whether it's effective?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the biggest thing is whether this is going to work or not. I had a lot of doubts on that front because as a first time starting entrepreneur, it is a lot of money. And especially when I was not generating, any income, right? Any dollar figure bigger than one is a lot of money because I wasn't generating income. And so I had to ask my spouse, who was very supportive of my journey, to sponsor this part of the expense. But I think it all paid off in the end. I think if I were to go back to 2023, I would say have faith in the process and trust yourself that you'd be able to handle it. Yeah.
Have faith in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we have a common friend who, I guess, having trust, it really helps also that way.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything else you would like to say to someone who is on the cusp, thinking of coaching with us, isn't sure about the coaching, working with us? What would you tell them?
For me, working with Yogi has been life-changing, to say the least. I became a lot, I would say, stronger mentally and a lot less pleasing to others.
People-pleasing to others.
People-pleasing, yes. People-pleasing to others. And I have been...
And just for my perception, by the way, you have not become any less nice. You are still a genuinely nice person.
I haven't been an a-hole to others, and I was never an a-hole to others, and I have not been an a-hole to others, to that extent. And I think the process is not about becoming a jerk to others, because
it's a shift that you go through.
There was I read this book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and the way they put it is, the opposite of crazy is still crazy. Right? The opposite of people pleasing is being a jerk. That's not how this works. I think being nice is about having other people's interest at heart while still being able to, prioritize your own needs and wants. That's what I became a lot better at.
And especially in the business you are in, you're helping a lot of tenant buyers. And I think being nice and genuinely caring is really an asset.
Mm-hmm.
And many people might not think like that, but it's actually a big asset for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for working with us. Thank you for being a good friend, and it has been really great spending time with you.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Unlock your full potential with Yogi Sharma. Like and subscribe for more videos.